Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the early edition of Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, who's got an early morning over there, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib, and we have a great show for you today. And as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here for a little bit, man. We'll be here for about until maybe 2 o'clock.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
What are you doing over there?
I'm sorry, Eric.
You got the flu, Beeb.
He's allergic to being on the show.
He's allergic. We all got to get up early today, man. Robert,
allergic to those fights. Allergic to those fights last night.
Squash matches, man.
There you go.
Good old-fashioned squash matches. Today, we're going to talk about Canelo versus Triple G 2 is set, and we'll give you all the details, and I'm just kind of lukewarm on the fight. Is Floyd Mayweather heading to the UFC? We'll have all the news.
Oh, God.
That's the way it goes, man. Robert's favorite judge, Adelaide Bird, may be back in action soon, and we'll all have our Super Bowl picks. But first, we get started with the World Boxing Super Series. Murat Gassiev versus Junior Dorticos for the IBF and WBA Cruiserweight Championship. Once again, man, the fight of the week came from the World Boxing Super Series. Let me tell you what, if you're not watching this tournament, you need to start, all right? You're missing out on big, big fights. I'm talking about big fights. Gassiev and Dorticos went at it, man. The fight was back and forth from the beginning. I had Gassiev kind of pulling away in the last 4 rounds. It looked like Dorticos was getting tired, man. He took a lot of body shots early. The end came in the 12th round when a picture-perfect left hand landed flush on Dorticos' jaw. I tell you what, he went down, and he went down in a heap, and I have no idea how he got up, man. He did, but it hit him flush, and he just dropped like he got shot. He was knocked down 2 more times, and the fight was stopped just before the final bell, which was really sad, man. I think there was like 20 seconds left or something like that, or not. I think the actual time was maybe 2:52. So it's a shame he couldn't answer that he couldn't finish the fight, man. But Gassiev will now advance to the finals to face Alexander Usyk for the undisputed Cruiserweight Championship. All 4 belts on the line. And incidentally, if you guys didn't see the fight, okay, if you go to YouTube, you go to the World Boxing Super Series. We also had it on Ringside Reporter. And what I'll do, too, on ringsidereporter.com, if I see it the fights are all on YouTube, and I'll provide the stream for it on the website. So you can just click on the link and just watch it there. And it goes to, it's the same link and everything like that. So do that, or you can go to YouTube and just watch it there. The one thing that's funny, man, is that when you watch on YouTube, all the comments on the right-hand side that you see, kind of like when you watch us on YouTube Live, you'll see the comments. Beeb, do you ever watch these comments on YouTube, like during a live fight? It's brutal. It is just brutal.
They make Jason look like a saint.
I mean, it is like the worst. I mean, just bottom of the barrel comments during those live fights, man. It's really bad, man.
Oh my God, they go in.
It's harsh, man. It's real.
They go in hard, man.
What were you saying, Robert?
This brings up a very interesting point. I've heard on other places that a lot of people think that the reason why this series is not on US TV is because the boxing industry doesn't want anything to do with Richard Schaefer. Do you think there's any truth to that?
No.
No.
Because if it makes money, I mean, they're going to do it.
Fake news.
Yeah, it's fake news.
Fake news.
Let me tell you what, and speaking of Richard Schaefer, I gave him a hard time last week for not having these fights on TV. But now that I got them on YouTube, and I didn't know they were on YouTube, I knew they were there after the fact. I didn't know they were streaming them live because, nobody gives out press releases saying that. Nobody says anything about it. Nobody really knows. Again, it's the lack of promotion. But that being said, I'm going to give him his due here, man, because that fight, this is the first time I actually sat down and watched the World Boxing Super Series from start to finish. And I was impressed with the production of the show, man, from the walkouts to the fights. I mean, it was amazing. They put so much effort, and it shows. The only thing I didn't really care for was the announcer, man. But other than that, it was first class, man. Other promoters, man, really should take note on this. The lighting, the ring walks, I mean, the way everybody was introduced, the way it was laid out, the way the ring looks. It looks like it's from another. This is like a whole another level. I mean, and even the overlay, everything, it's another level. You know,
was that on Sky Sports or was that on Box Nation?
That I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
I think it was Box Nation, if I'm not mistaken. That guy's a Box Nation.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So,
yeah. But I tell you what, man, it was pretty amazing, man, the way they did things. Now let's talk about the fight itself. Beeb, what did you think of Gaziev and Dorticos? And then we'll talk about when it's all over, like Usyk's next for Gaziev, and we'll talk about that fight. But what did you think overall of this fight right here? I thought it was a great fight, man.
It was an outstanding fight, and you know, I mentioned last week that I didn't know too much about Dorticos, but I have to say, after watching him last night, I have a ton of respect for the way he tried that, you know, to go out in that fight. He had a lot of heart, and he was getting hit with a lot of big shots even early in the fight, and he walked through them. But like I say, eventually when you chip away at the stone, the rock is going to crack, and that's just what happened. It looked like Dorticos, you know, definitely known as the big puncher. He's the knockout guy, has a reputation for being the knockout guy. He was putting on a lot of pressure, did very well with the jab, was very pesky with the jab, kept it in Gaziev's face. And I thought he did some really good body work early on too. But, you know, Gaziev is a crafty guy. He's constantly moving. He's constantly, you know, making you have to chase him, making you have to hunt him down. It's not really predictable either. He'll throw that right hand from the outside, but again, it's like, you know, Nolan Ryan, who's a fastball pitcher. You know he's going to throw the fastball, but you still have to time it. You still have to get around on that fastball. Gaziev's the same way. He just throws these off-speed punches, and it's hard to really get a read on him. And as the fight wore on, he started closing the gap a little bit, and he was slipping in some of those short uppercuts on the inside, which was opening up other punches for him. So this guy Gaziev is a real cerebral assassin. He really is a methodical guy, takes his time, and he basically dissects his opponents. And early in the fight, like I said, he was laying back a little bit, moving, picking and choosing his spots, you know, being the counter puncher. But once he softened up Dorticos, he went in for the kill, and he just systematically broke him down. And we saw what happened at the end of that fight. What a punch. And I thought the referee stopped the fight a little bit too late. I thought that Dorticos was out even before he fell through the ropes. I thought, the referee should have jumped in there. I was a little bit disappointed. I was screaming as I was watching this fight. Get in there! Get in there! Get in there! The neighbors almost had to call the cops on me. I was just so animated because I thought it was a horrible stoppage. There's no reason why he has to fall through those ropes. What if he falls through those ropes and he falls and lands on some equipment there and seriously hurts himself? Because we've seen fighters do that before too. He was totally out of it, flailing, swaying all over the ring. Did not have his faculties intact whatsoever, and there was no need for him to have to take that last punch that made him fall through the ropes. And it is what it is. But regardless of that, I think this final to this series is going to be amazing. And I know we talked about Richard Schaefer and not being successful at selling this whole tournament to the networks in the United States. But one thing he does have now he has some leverage, because he could take the tapes of all these fights that we've seen these last couple of weeks and show the networks, this is what you passed on. Okay? You may not know these guys, but this is what you passed on. And if you put this out to the public, then eventually you will know these guys, and I think people would be interested, because all these fights have been pretty solid. They've been pretty solid fights. And these last two fights that we saw were outstanding fights. I thought they were outstanding fights. This was the fight of the weekend. And unfortunately, no casual fans were able to see that, because if you show this fight to a casual fan, this will definitely turn someone who's on the fence that's kind of saying to themselves, I'll watch the big fights, but should I tune into anything else? This is a type of fight that would probably help convert a casual fan to a more frequent watcher of the sport. And it's a shame, but like I said, Richard Schaefer has the leverage now. He has the evidence, and he could show people and show these networks. And I'm sure Steven Espinosa's kind of looking at this because he's a smart guy. He's an open-minded guy. I'm sure maybe down the future they could put a similar tournament with these similar fighters in another weight division. And that would be great. Just like the Super Six, they could have more tournaments like that and put them back on Showtime like they did with the Super Six. So it is what it is. I thought these were great fights. And, even still, Box Nation and in Sky Sports or wherever this fight was, they still are nothing to sneeze at. Enough people in Europe still watch this fight. And judging by that crowd, it was a packed house, as you said. Very great production. I'm sure they did well. But the thing is, they could have done much better if they looped in more of the other networks into this. But it was awesome to be able to watch this on YouTube. And it's funny, too, because when you see these fights on YouTube, you don't see them taken down that much. And it's like Schaefer, Box Nation, or whatever. They want to market this, these fights, and they want more people to see them because they're thinking ahead. You know what? If these are great fights, and if they're on YouTube, so be it. People are going to have a chance to see these great fights, and it's more eyeballs. And next time if we put it on a platform where if they have to pay for it, then now they'll pay for it because we gave them a little sample. So, this was just a great event all around.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's the whole. I mean, and we got Eubank and Groves coming up next. I mean, look, I mean, these are good fights, man. And why on earth, like I said, nobody picked them up. I have no idea. But it's like you said, it starts slow. I guarantee the next one's getting picked up. Listen, at the end of this thing, you're going to have an undisputed cruiserweight champion. All 4 belts on the line. You're going to have an undisputed. That's big. I mean, that's a huge deal. Anytime you have an undisputed champion, that's a huge deal. All of the champions stepped up. They went in this tournament, and then they got, you're going to come out with the best of the best here, man. Yeah, I love it. I love this. I love the tournament-based stuff anyway, but this is really, really good, man. So let's talk about Usyk versus Gassiev. That'll be in the final for the undisputed championship. I've rode with Usyk all along. I thought that he was the guy in this division. I still think Usyk wins, but I tell you what, man, I don't think it's going to be as easy as maybe I thought it was going to be to begin with. I think this is going to be a tough one for him. The thing that I liked about Gassiev in this fight with Dorticos was that even though I gave Dorticos, 3 of the first 4 rounds, and because he had him on the back foot, he was backing him up, he was jabbing him. But even through that, Gassiev was still landing the more effective punches. He was landing that overhand, that right hook over the top through his gloves, and then that uppercut. That was landing for him all night, and that's what got him in trouble. Exactly. And I think it'll be interesting to see if Usyk can't land anything in those first few rounds, and Gassiev is still able to land those shots because Usyk's still a younger guy. It'll be interesting, man. It'll get interesting, that's for sure.
The most interesting thing about this fight is both guys, they're not just one-trick ponies. They do a lot of things very well.
Yeah.
And when you watch them throughout the fight, they're constantly making adjustments. They're not going to continuously try to do the same thing over and over again if they know it's not working. And Usyk is a testament to that. He is really great at adapting and switching things up. And, this is what's going to make – this is going to be an action-packed chess match, if there was ever such a thing as as a chess match being action packed. If there is,
Absolutely.
it's going to be this. Let's just say that.
I saw a lot of good chess matches, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exciting. What did you think of the body work by Gassiev in this fight?
Again, versatility. He's going to open up the headshots. He's not going to try to force them through. And the way to open up the headshots is go downstairs. And you may say to yourself, he's got to gamble to go downstairs, but again, he knows how to set things up. He has a very good ring instincts in there, and he knows how to open up his shots, and it's just hard to get a read on this guy. He's really hard to get a read on this guy. If you're an opponent, that is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for the finals. The finals, I think, are going to be in Jeddah, and I think that, what is that, Dubai or the Arab Emirates or whatever? I think
something like that. Yeah.
So, but in 2 weeks, we're going to see Chris Eubank Jr. and Groves fight. So that should be pretty insane.
Really, really stoked for that fight too. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, and of course, I picked Eubank Jr. to win it all too. So we'll see. See what happens. All right, let's move ahead to ESPN. Top Rank on ESPN. Gilberto Ramirez versus Habib Ahmed for the WBO super middleweight title. Ramirez wins via TKO in the 6th round over Habib Ahmed. Ramirez looked very solid in this fight. Now, listen, man, how would you like to see this guy in the World Boxing Super Series tournament?
Oh, my God. He called out the winner. He called out the winner of that tournament.
Hey, just get in the tournament. You ain't got to call out the winner. You could be the winner. Yeah. You kind of missed your chance here, man. Ramirez.
What a shame. What a shame.
He dominated this fight, man. It was like a squash match, man. 2 squash matches on that second ESPN.
Absolutely. It was a horrible card.
Yeah.
You had 2 guys in there with blown up records, with all due respect to the fighters. I mean, obviously, they tried.
Wasn't it? Ahmed never fought out of Africa. Was that right? I mean, he was.
Correct.
So what? Come on, man.
And the other guy had most of his fights in Mexico.
Right.
This was both.
That's correct.
This was both opponents' first time on the big stage, and they had very good records, but again, no one knew who they were, and just like as you said, to coin a phrase from you, squash matches. They were showcase fights, and you have to ask yourself at this point in Gilberto Ramirez's career, does he need a showcase fight? You want to see these guys in there with guys that have a chance at least challenging them to some degree. And these, again, we criticize the PBC for putting on one-sided fights that we know who's going to win and stuff. Yeah. When you're on ESPN, this is a big platform. This is the time to showcase fighters, but not against opponents who have blown up records, against opponents that no one knows who they are, and against opponents that offer up no resistance. We don't want to see the same thing happen with this series that we saw with the I'm not going to say this happened with PBC because there were some, like the Lamont Peterson fight versus Danny Garcia. I think that was on ESPN if I'm not mistaken, and that was a very good fight. That was a fight that I thought Peterson should have got the decision on. But we don't want to see Arum squander this deal because ESPN is a great platform to put boxers on. It's not premium cable. It's cable, but it's not premium cable, and more people have subscriptions to ESPN, obviously, than the premium networks. And not only that, this was not a primetime fight. I get it, but still, you get people who are watching other sports that may trickle down and watch, and this may catch their eye, or you may have people who are getting ready to watch Sports Center later in the evening, and they may catch the end of this or whatever. And if they're going to go and see something like this, I just don't think it's a good thing. So Bob Arum needs to step his game up, just like Al Heyman's doing right now with Showtime. I mean, Showtime's schedule is destroying any other schedule out there from any other, whether it be HBO or ESPN, because that ESPN schedule does not look promising moving forward either.
No, really.
So hopefully, the Jeff Horn Terence Crawford fight will be on ESPN, and Manny Pacquiao. I'd like to see Manny Pacquiao fight Lucas Matisse. That would be an interesting fight. That would be a good fight to put on ESPN. So I hope they don't make the same mistakes and they don't end up screwing this up, and then they could possibly lose the same deal that PBC did.
Yeah, Robert, what were your thoughts on Ramirez here?
First of all, Beeb kind of took the words out of my mouth. Gilberto Ramirez and David Benavidez both should have been in the Super Series. I think they both squandered an opportunity here. But he did what he was supposed to do. But he's 37-0 now with 25 knockouts. And I know he's had this title for a little while. He's got to start fighting some people who can give him resistance and people that other boxing people know. I mean, I can't remember. I know he fought Jesse Hart in September.
That was a good fight. That was a good opponent for him.
Yeah, but it was a meaningful fight. Really was.
Yeah, Arthur Abraham was definitely.
I believe that's the only name on his record.
We've got Arthur Abraham on there too.
ESPN last night about how that could possibly be rematched because Jesse Hart is still number one. He's still a mandatory person in the WBO. Number one, if you've already made a mandatory title defense against somebody and you've beaten him, why don't the sanctioning body change their rankings? If the person lost, somebody else should be placed in that number one spot. I just don't understand how some of this works sometimes. But he did what he was supposed to do, but he needs to fight people, such as a Chris Eubank, David Benavidez, people that Caleb Plant, for example, people that people would know. I could not agree with Beeb more. Bob Arum, he needs to spend more money and put more meaningful fights on. And believe me, remember, ESPN is actually paying Top Rank for this deal. And if they don't get the ratings that they like, they're going to go to Bob and say, look, we've committed to you for X amount of years, but we're not getting what we want out of you. You either need to step up your game or we're going to cancel this deal.
Right.
But let's talk about a few things good, at least about Gilberto Ramirez, because this is definitely a fighter that when I give him the eye test, I absolutely love what I see. And I'm going to say something that may even be blasphemous to some people, but this guy reminds me of a super middleweight version of Eric Morales / Juan Manuel Marquez. And the reason why I'm saying that is this guy never fights down to the level of his opposition. He is definitely a highly skilled fighter. When you watch the things he's doing in there, he is an immensely fluid combination puncher, throws the right punches at the right time, depending upon where he's positioned in that ring, does not waste much. He is a sniper. He can fight anywhere, whether it be from the outside, mid-range, inside. Obviously, being 6'2.5", you want to be able to use your reach. And again, I use this word a lot when I say subtle. And when you look at the subtleties, because I know we talked about this last week about, fighters who are natural southpaws or natural orthodox fighters, whatever, and they convert to southpaw because they want to have their lead hand in the front. But watch what this kid does. He'll be, in front of his opponent, maybe off to his left a little bit, right? And he'll be in the southpaw stance. And he has the opening right down the middle. And you could say, he could just throw the jab, whatever. But here's the thing. People don't realize this, or maybe they do realize this and they overlook it. You have the lead hand in front. I know Max Kellerman loves to say, you got the lead hand in front. Or Jim Lampley, same thing. 70 to 80% of your punches are thrown with the lead hand being the jab. Okay. But the body mechanics of a jab is, you twist your hip in there a little bit, but you can't get the same amount of leverage as you can with the backhand, because the backhand, okay, you can throw it straight, but you're really turning more of your hip into the punch, and you're going to get more of your weight into the punch. So I watched him do this a few times last night where he had the opening, and he just would slip and just for that brief moment, turn orthodox, and then throw the right hand, with authority, and really, get some good results with that, because he made that little subtle change. He was able to really get some leverage behind it, as opposed to just throwing the jab, and it's probably going to land, but it's not going to land with the same amount of leverage. He's not going to be able to turn as much weight into that. And then the other argument for having the lead hand in front is, yeah, you get your power hand up there and you can throw the hook, but once again, the hook is a mid-range punch. We have seen fighters like Roy Jones leap in with it when he's on the outside, Sugar Ray Robinson, even Sugar Shane Mosley. But again, that's a risk. Whereas when you're throwing, your power hand from the back, and you're turning it over, you're getting the leverage, and then your shoulder is coming across and it's protecting your chin. Whereas when you're throwing a hook, you can't protect your chin. When you throw a right hand, you turn the punch over, you shift your body over to your left a little bit, and then at the end of that punch, your shoulder is protecting your chin. So this is why I like the backhand being the power hand, and this is why what this young man did last night by making that little subtle move. He did it a few times where he would just he'd be kind of up close in the mid-range area and had the opening down the middle, and he could just switch to orthodox real quick, and he'd be like boom with the right hand, and these are things that are going to be hard to defend against, because this guy has superior ring instincts in timing, punch selection, and I'm really high on this kid. I think this kid, in my opinion, is the best super middleweight in the sport right now, because he may not be the most athletically gifted guy, he may not be the fastest guy in the world, but he is the most versatile guy in the world, in the division, and he is the best technical fighter in the division, and he uses situational intelligence, he does the right things at the right time and doesn't waste anything in there. And I think he will reign supreme when it's all said and done, if he does fight the winner of that super middleweight tournament. I think this guy's going to rise above everybody, in my opinion. I really like what I see from him.
Really? You think he's going to beat Eubank Jr.? I mean,
absolutely. Eubank Jr.'s got a ton of holes, and this guy, being as skilled technically as he is, he will be able to punch right through those holes, in my opinion.
They're both, yeah. I mean, he's definitely a schooled fighter, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
I like him a lot, man. He's going to be good. But did he miss the boat by not being in this tournament? I think he did. Yes, he did. I don't understand why these guys don't go to the promoter and say, "Hey, I want to be in this. This is what I want." You're calling out the winner. Listen, I don't want to hear that. Your ship sailed, son.
But
don't say I want to call out the winner. Don't look. It's done. It's over with. You missed it. You missed your opportunity, because they still got the semifinals, and then you've got the finals, and then you got after that. You know what I mean? So,
but this is the thing, Eric. Because he's a top-ranked fighter, and I hate to say this, and because Top Rank has to deal with ESPN, and that's that's predominantly their network.
Right.
If ESPN's not going to televise this tournament, then did he really have a choice by doing what he did and not going into this tournament? That's the thing.
Right.
Him and David Benavidez blew it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, again, they didn't really blow it. Just the situation at hand did not enable them to be in this tournament. I don't think David Benavidez probably would have wanted to be in it anyways. I think he likes doing what he's doing right now. But I truly believe Gilberto Ramirez wanted to be in this tournament, because I think he really believes that he's the best. I think he believes it in his heart that he's the best, and he's confident that he can beat anyone in this division. And I agree with him. I love this kid.
All right, let's talk about Jerwin Ancajas versus Israel Gonzalez for the IBF Junior Bantamweight title, 115 pounds. Ancajas dropped Gonzalez in round 1 and then put him away in round 10. And no, he did not step on his foot. It was a clean knockdown. It was a clean left hand that put him out in the first round, put him down in the first round. Then he put him away in the 10th round, knocked him down twice in that round. Referee waved off the fight after the second knockdown in the 10th. I've been high on Cajas all this time, man. And I tell you what, man, I've said it all along. I think he's one of the best in that division. I want to see him in a Rung Visai fight. I thought, he handled this guy really well. I thought Gonzalez was game. He just wasn't on the level, man. No way. And I tell you what, another thing that I'm sick of from that broadcast last night, can we please stop the Ancajas Pacquiao comparisons? I mean, these two are completely different fighters. It was just annoying. I heard Pacquiao's name every round of that fight. And I heard it after the fight when he got asked about the comparisons. It's like they're different fighters. Just because, he's Filipino does not mean he's Pacquiao. It just bugs me.
And we talked about this earlier. The broadcast team is not there to be a PR team. They're there to commentate on the fight. They're not there to worry about what the guy's zodiac sign is, what his favorite color is, what he had for breakfast this morning, what gym he goes to, what his hobbies are. That's for the pre-fight buildup, okay? Save all that stuff for the pre-fight buildup in the pre-fight shows or in the pre-fight press conferences, okay? That's fine. When the bell rings, let's talk about what's going on in the ring. And the reason why people can't do that, and this is why I love Showtime, because Al Bernstein and Paulie Malignaggi do exactly that. They commentate on what they're seeing. They break down the action in front of them. And you may have, Mauro Ronaldo, say things off the cuff, but at least you have Al Bernstein and Paulie Malignaggi to right the ship. These guys, and even with respect to Tim Bradley, who's a very good boxer, he just is not able to articulate very well, what's going on in the ring. He's not an overly analytical guy when it comes to being a commentator. And none of these guys are. And that's the problem. You have three people, and out of the three people, you at least need someone there who is a true analyst of what's going on in front of you or in front of them. And they're not able to do that. So that's why you have all this other fluff being brought out there. Same thing with Lampley. Lampley and Kellerman. Kellerman tries to be the analyst, but he gets roped into a lot of the other non-significant stuff too. Roy Jones, the same thing. Andre Ward was the guy that I really enjoy listening to, and unfortunately they don't put him on there enough. HBO. So that's what these networks need to do when they put together their broadcast teams. At least have one guy who's the analyst, and have it be a guy who's not going to scream and yell and make an ass of himself. We all know who that guy is. Got removed. That guy shot himself in the foot because of his theatrics. If he took away a lot of the theatrics and a lot of the hyperbole that he promotes, then he may still be in the booth too. But with that being said, let's put an analyst in there. Let's talk about the fights, or let's have people in there talking about the fights. Enough with all this other BS, please.
I've got a guy who would fit perfectly in that booth.
Who?
Teddy Atlas.
No.
Teddy Atlas back.
No. Get him out of there.
Teddy Atlas back.
No.
Get him out of there.
Let me tell you what. That guy Kriegel is like a dead fish out there. He sucks. He's completely boring. He's reporting on, the guy's favorite color, everything like that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And he's so dry, like he with his stupid human interest piece. Who cares? Two guys gloving up wanting to fight. That's where we need Teddy Atlas. You show him some respect.
Nope.
He was in Rikers. All right, Robert, what'd you think of this fight?
Please.
How dare you?
First of all, the Filipino champion should have been part of Superfly. That's where he belonged.
Good point, Robbie.
And I get from what I heard, he was offered a spot on that card, but he decided to sign with Top Rank.
Let me ask you a
question.
And
that's how he ended up on this card.
All right, let me ask you a question. Robert, hang on. Let me ask you a question. Why?
Go ahead.
Because this isn't like the super series. I almost said the Super 6, but this is not like the Super series.
Right.
where it's a tournament and everything. Why put him on Superfly when he can fight, dead competition here?
Because it'd be more interesting, Eric.
I mean, because we saw Inoue on Superfly and he fought some dead competition there. What I mean, because if he fought Israel Gonzalez on the Superfly card, who would care?
That's a good point from you, Eric. Good
no,
point.
Hopefully they would have found somebody else.
I mean, seriously, you probably saw more people probably saw Ancajas on this card than they will see on Superfly. Because it's ESPN.
We would hope that, yeah.
Right.
We would hope that.
Yeah, I would hope that. Right.
Theoretically, yeah, it should be that way because again, the platform is much bigger. So yeah.
Yeah. But no, again, he did what he was supposed to do. But I'm going to say the same thing I said in the Ramirez fight. He needs to fight Rung Visai and all the guys that we're going to see.
100%.
All those type of guys that we're going to see in about 3 weeks' time. I mean, they just dug this guy up out of Mexico for him to win. It was a decent fight, but this is ESPN. Again, Bob's got to step up his game. Two very disappointing well, they're not disappointing outcomes because the champions won their fights. But you dug up two people that nobody knew. Let's get some names in there, and let's see what they do in the future. Both of these guys.
I tell you what, with the 115 division, you got Rung Visai, you got Quadras, you got Ancajas.
Yep.
How bad does Inoue look here? Because from what I understand, he's moving up in weight to 118, where there's nobody.
Yep.
You're missing out on all those paydays. This guy's supposed to be Godzilla. Everybody's, all over him and everything like that. It's like, man, look, it is what it is, man. Stay there, get paid, and what do you do? I don't know. All right, let's talk about the first leg of the ESPN card here. Jesse Hart had a first-round knockout, which, was just another big squash match there. But let's talk about the second fight, Teofimo Lopez versus Juan Carlos Sanchez. This fight this was interesting to me. The fight had originally been scheduled for Teofimo Lopez versus John Delperdang, which I was looking forward to. Delperdang is a very tough fighter, and that's the fight I wanted to see. Lopez won a unanimous decision here against Sanchez. Lopez came in with a lot of hype behind him. I mean, you should have heard the announcers. I mean, before this fight happened, I mean, they were going nuts, saying he's the next big thing and this and that. A lot of hype. Listen, he's a good fighter. He's a good prospect, but he got hit a little too much for my liking, man. He clowned a little too much. He wasn't able to get his guy out of there either. And that's what they said. They were very first round. They were like, if it goes that far, and it's not expected to. Yeah, okay. Well, it went the distance, son, so I don't know. He needs to concentrate, on getting better and leave the nonsense in his dressing room, man, because he was clowning a little bit too much there, and he really let that opportunity go by on national TV.
Gilberto Ramirez was in the same situation where he could have clowned too, but he took his job serious last night, and you saw the results. And that's the difference between somebody who, is fighting the way they're supposed to be fighting, and another fighter who's fighting down to the level of their opposition. And that's the risk that you run when you're fighting nondescript opponents. You put in a situation where you can, play around and get away with it, but that's not making you better, and that's not making for a good fight to watch either.
Yeah, I agree. What were your thoughts on Lopez, Robert?
I agree with you. They were talking to Tim Bradley about, this is one of your fighters. You discovered him. What a great find, and come on, people. Are you becoming the bigger platform for HBO? Are you going to do the HBO commentary? Thank you, Jim, Max, Roy. Come on. stick to what you see in the ring.
Right.
No, like I said previously, Eric, I was very disappointed in the ESPN card. None of these fights were super competitive. I mean, Jesse Hart weighed in almost as a light heavyweight. What's up with that? Does that mean he's moving up? I mean, I couldn't believe it when the weight was announced. It's like, you're 168. Why are you almost 175? Granted, it was a first-round knockout, but come on. No, this card was a disaster, in my opinion, last night. Let's see ESPN do better, because this is not a very good start. Just like HBO had a pathetic start the previous week, ESPN got off to a rotten start here. They both need to improve, and they need to do it soon.
Yeah, I will go along with that. Across the pond, Lawrence Okolie versus Isaac Chamberlain, 10 rounds. They were cruiserweights. Okolie wins this one by an easy unanimous decision, 98-89, 96-90, and 97-89. And Okolie, he's looking like a really good prospect, man. Went the distance, won the unanimous decision. Tough opponent with Isaac Chamberlain. On that undercard, Ted Cheeseman versus Carson Jones, 10 rounds, junior middleweights. Cheeseman won. The Big Cheese is his nickname, probably the best nickname out. Cheeseman won a unanimous decision over Carson Jones by the score of 189 and 99-91 twice. On Showtime, we're going to gloss over this one. From what I understand, I didn't see it, but it wasn't. From what I understand, it wasn't great. Ronald Ellis versus Junior Yaunin. These two fought to a draw. Split. I think it was a split decision draw. If I'm not.
It was, yeah.
It was. Split draw.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, let's talk about the upcoming fights here. Coming up. All right, so let's see. February 7th, 8th. February 8th. That's a Friday, Robert? Is that right? Or is that a Thursday?
Yes. Yeah.
Friday?
No, that's a Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday.
February 8th, Thursday, February 8th, from Pensacola, Florida, on UFC Fight Pass. That's right. You heard it right. UFC Fight Pass. Roy Jones Jr. versus Scott Sigmund, 10 rounds, cruiserweights. How about that? And that'll be on Fight Pass, and I think it's $10 a month. So if you want to see Roy Jones in what's being billed as his final fight, go see that. Now, there is some talk about Roy Jones wanting to box Anderson Silva or one of the other UFC guys. I would not be surprised, given the fact that this is on UFC Fight Pass, if that does not happen.
Yeah.
I could see it happening. Could definitely see that happening. Let's see here. On February 9th in Dallas on BN Sports, Ray Jimenez versus John Moralde to 8 rounds featherweights. February 10th from Cancun, Mexico on Robert's favorite station, BN Sports, Miguel Berchelt versus Maxwell Owuku, 12 rounds for Berchelt's WBC junior lightweight title. That is a squash match central. Don't expect any surprises there. In Park City, Kansas on CBS Sportsnet, tape delayed, Nico Hernandez versus Josef Atijai. Yeah, I guess so. 8 rounds flyweights, easy for me to say. Let's see what else. Anything else? Philadelphia next Saturday. Hank Lundy versus DeMarcus Corley. Yes, these two are still fighting. 8 rounds lightweights.
Oh,
8
my.
rounds. 8 rounds. I always said Lundy should have fired CES a long time ago as promoters because, again, man, he's one of the most charismatic guys out there. He loves to talk. He's a great personality, can really sell things, and they have just not been able to do anything with him over there. So
why is he fighting an 8-round fight? Come on, really?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Pay the bills, Robbie. Come on.
Oh.
Right.
And that's it. That's it for next week. So very light fight week next week.
What a pathetic weekend, folks.
Oh, wow. But it's Super Bowl weekend here. And before we go to the phones, let's have our Super Bowl picks. I'm taking the Eagles today. The Eagles will win. Not only will they win, they will win by 2 touchdowns at least. It will be a blowout. This game will be over by halftime. Robert, what say you?
No. let me make this clear. I'm not a Patriot supporter.
Cut it out. I sent you the banner yesterday.
Can't go against you can't go against the GOAT. You got to take Tom Brady and the Patriots, and this is not going to be no squash match. I think this is going to be a very close game. 28-24, 27-24, something like that. I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl. And if you're not interested in halftime, you can find something else to do since it's Justin Timberlake.
He's your
boy.
But
the Patriots will repeat as champions. Beeb?
He's liking Justin Timberlake, baby.
You already know what my pick is going to be. I mean,
he likes the Eagles too.
I mean, but Massachusetts, born and bred, the heartland of New England. Of course, I have to pick the New England Patriots, and it's obviously because of Tom Brady. The guy just doesn't know how to lose, and we've seen him down and out. We've seen the Patriots down and out, and they always find a way to win. And that's just the bottom line.
Last year's Super Bowl was a perfect example. Atlanta had a 28 lead, and it ended up 34-28 New England.
What's interesting is that Atlanta had a 28-3 lead, blew it. Georgia in the the national title game against Alabama had a big lead too, and they blew that one too. Yeah. Something about the state of Georgia.
And next year's Super Bowl is in Atlanta, by the way.
Yeah.
Should do a pie bet on the Super Bowl. I won't even do a pie bet. I'll do a bakery bet. You can take the whole rack of pastries and dump them on me if the Patriots lose.
I think I'm going to pass on that one.
Right.
Of course you will. Of course you will. Not betting with your head. You're betting with your heart. Everyone hates the Patriots.
We all hate them. Area code 773. You're live.
Oh, hey guys. Dale.
Hey, Dale.
Dale, what's up?
Yeah, what's happening?
Not much.
Not much.
Getting ready for the big game.
Who do you got in the big game tonight?
Yeah.
He's got the Eagles too.
It's really hard to pick against the Patriots as much as I maybe want to. But sorry, dude. But I don't know, man. It's as far as a bet goes, I've been thinking about putting some money on the Eagles just because of the points, but depending on where it is right now. But
it's only 4.5, Dale.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close game though. So, when the Patriots come back in the fourth quarter and win by a field goal, hey, you're still in the money.
That's right.
You know what? That's a good point.
I think the Patriots are going to win.
They always, no matter what you say about the Patriots, they've never been involved in a Super Bowl blowout, except when they played Chicago.
No.
And Chicago blew them out in '85.
That's right.
But
the
Bears.
That was the best defense in football I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I think the second best had to be that Ravens squad.
Cut it out, Robbie.
The Ravens squad had the second best, man.
Beeb's quiet during this one.
The '85 Bears, that was the best team I'd ever seen.
That was horrible, man.
Real.
Rich Easton on his back all day long, baby.
All night, bro.
I wouldn't say that's the best team I've ever seen, but that's definitely the best defense I've ever seen.
Yeah, man, that's the best defense, best team I ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they were crazy. I don't see anybody.
The running back was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Walter Payton was a decent running back.
Yep. Oh, he certainly was.
Yeah.
He was all right.
That was fun. Yeah, those guys are still dining out on that here, let me tell you.
No doubt.
They haven't done crap since. What's that, Eric?
I said, no doubt. Those guys got to be still popular there even from that game.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. They've all got restaurants and car dealerships and, radio post-game shows and
Oh, yeah.
But in any case, no, I think the Pats are going to do it. I mean, that's just right. I mean, until Tom's done and Belichick retires, it's hard to pick against them. It's going to be a good game either way. I'm excited. So yeah.
And Brady says he's going to play 5 more years. I don't see it, but hey, it's
He's a vegan.
God.
He's a vegan. He's in good shape.
He's a vegan.
Yes.
Little kale smoothie with blueberries.
He does
The
the
antioxidants are going to carry him through.
he does the green drink.
Wheatgrass action.
Right. So there you go.
There you go.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, he's the nutritionist for Danny Jacobs. So
I know. Yeah.
Anyway, what's up with boxing, Dale?
Yeah, man, no problem. Yeah, exactly. Move on to boxing.
Yeah.
Try to make it quick here. And first off, real quick, Beeb, I am a natural right-hander that boxes southpaw, but that's only because my footwork is pretty terrible orthodox, so it's much better southpaw.
Whatever works for you, my friend.
Recognizing that. What's up?
I said, whatever works for you, my friend. You have to go with what suits you the best. That's all. That's how it is.
Exactly. But the World Boxing Super Series, man, that was kind of like you guys. Before, I kind of caught them the day after, try to find some. There's some Russian feed that would always put the stuff up day after. I'd watch those, the preliminary rounds. But yeah, caught it live this weekend and last too, actually. And you know what? You guys kind of made some really good points on that. The feed was good. I guess last week there was a lot of problems last week with the feed, but this week the feeds were good. They were there on either Facebook or YouTube, and I love the production of it. I love the ring of lights. The ring walks are good, and they are one after another. The second one fight is done, all right, let's bring out the next, fighters. I mean, they were right on it. Yeah, it was, so the whole production, the whole thing was good. Not all the fights, on the undercard are great, but that's, whatever. But the main event, wow. I mean, you guys talked about it last week too. Knew it was going to be good. Both guys had serious power. I was very excited about it, but man, Dorticos, or as Corey refers to him, Doritos. He has got a granite beard. Oh my God, he was taking huge shots, so much heart, just tons of heart that guy had, and he was handling himself well too. He was landing some hard ones himself, but the more effective, harder, effective, damaging shot that were from Garcia. Even though it's first, I think I scored the first 4 rounds. I gave 2 of them to Dorticos, aka Doritos, and then after that, I think I gave him like 1 round. So, but even just because of the more effective shots, those uppercuts that Garcia was coming in with, body shots. He was just, and the announcer was talking about it. He's like, I wonder if this is getting into Garcia's head. In the middle of the fight, middle rounds, he was landing just some brutal, so those right hooks and stuff, and it wasn't even, Dorticos barely shook his head, barely moved, So he's one tough MFer, man, and he's got some power himself, as we saw in his the preliminaries. But so I'm excited to see him again, and kind of like you guys, I kind of had Usyk, when this whole thing was announced, I'm like, oh, dude, Usyk, this is his, man. And boy, oh boy, man, this is gonna be a good one. Garcia and Usyk. Now I'm not so sure. I mean, I still think at the end of the day, I think I'd still go with Usyk, but I don't know, man. And even he, at the end of the, when the fight was over, they kind of cut to him in the audience, and everyone's standing up, and he's still in his seat, and he's got this sort of like weird grin on his face. Like,
he looked like he was all business, man. He looked like he was ready to go right then. He wasn't playing around.
Yeah.
He did. No, like when he went in the ring and stuff, totally. Yeah, but he had this sort of like shitty grin when he was sitting there in the audience. Like, yeah, no, he's ready for it, but he's definitely got his work cut out for him.
It sounds like it's going to be a great fight. I hope everybody gets to see it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
Well, hey, Robbie, you got the iPhone now, right?
Yeah.
You can watch these on your phone. I know.
I know.
On
I
his
know.
iPhone, he doesn't even watch his show. He's half stepping. Get in the game, son. Come on, Robert. You got to watch these, man. It's the World Boxing Super Series, baby. You got an iPhone 10 now. He doesn't even have the home button on
I
his.
know I don't.
He doesn't even have the home button.
That's right.
Robert's a baller, son.
No, I don't have the 10. I'm not paying that kind of money.
He
for
just
that.
said
Unlimited data. Unlimited data, baby.
unlimited data.
Jeez.
Dale, you got anything else for
and
us?
just real quick.
Yeah.
That's it. That's about it. I missed the ESPN card. Sounds like.
Well, you didn't miss much.
Yeah, because I've been high on Cajas too, and Teofimo Lopez. So, but yeah, I guess maybe you could skip that one or just look at the highlights online. But that's about it. I'm just excited, what's coming up. So
Awesome.
Well, thanks for the call, man, and we'll
Awesome.
see you next week.
Enjoy that Eagles win tonight, buddy.
sounds good. Take care, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. 602. 602, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? It's Brandon from Phoenix. How you guys doing?
Brandon, how are
Hey,
you?
Brandon, what's up?
Oh, not much, man. I want to talk about. Well, I saw a little bit of everything, except for the Showbox card this weekend. So I guess I'll.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah.
The Gassiev Dorticos fight was great, man. It was a really good fight. I was really impressed with Gassiev. His defense and his ability to fight off the back foot, or maybe not the back foot, but his ability to fight moving backwards really impressed me because we haven't seen that from him yet. I don't know if you guys ever saw the fight with him versus Isaiah Washington or Isaiah Thomas, the TMT fighter. He was kind of getting outboxed.
That was Isaiah Thomas, yeah.
Is Isaiah Thomas? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was kind of getting outboxed, but then he caught up to him and was able to catch him against the ropes, even though it was a little after the bell. But this fight, he did some really smooth things that were real small, where it was like he kept his chin tucked and he kind of got hit in his forehead a lot and deflected a lot of those jabs off of his gloves. It was a great performance. It really was. It was a good fight. But I still favor Usyk in the final. I think that Dorticos never really made an adjustment to really get that right hand home. And I think that Usyk will be able to, with his foot movement and the activity of his jab, I think he'll be able to get the decision. What do you guys think?
That's a really good point about Dorticos. It really is, because it's like you said, he never really made that adjustment. And when that right hand wasn't clicking, and Gassiev had that defense for that right hand, he never made an adjustment. It was almost like he was lost. And he went to the jab and he went to the jab and he went to try to box him. And again, I thought he won 3 of the first 4 rounds by outboxing him. But as soon as he went on the back foot, it was like he was lost. I was really impressed. I was really impressed with Gassiev. The way he made the adjustments and the defense that he showed. I just don't, and his offense too. Again, man, he hits hard. I just don't know if he's going to be able to do the same thing against Usyk. Usyk's a completely different animal. I picked Usyk to win it all. I'm going to stay with him. It's going to be a tough fight, though. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and as far as the ESPN card goes, I got to definitely second your guys' opinion on the commentary. It was actually a little bit better than it had been. Basically, I think they kind of came to it where they're going to let Bradley talk more, and Kriegel's going to be the third man in that rotation there. And the way they just kept saying Pacquiao's name, it was just like, oh my God, just let this guy fight.
That was awful.
It was like, it was awful. It was terrible. And it goes down to the part of some of the issues with boxing. You can't promote the story during the fight. That needs to be done before the fight. I don't know how ESPN wants to market these guys. Maybe it's through their website if they don't want to give it any time on SportsCenter or, one of their other shows or platforms or something like that. But we can't try to create these guys' narratives during the fight. And it's something that HBO struggles with a lot, where they're trying to tell you the storyline while the fight's going on.
Yeah. That's the thing. Just let the guys fight and call the action.
Yeah. Ramirez looked good. You know, he's been looking good over the past couple of fights. You know, it's just about the step up of the competition. You know, I called here, you know, many months ago talking about how it would have been a much better move for his career for him to be in the Super Series, because there really wasn't going to be much for him to do outside of the Super Series as far as any of the bigger names in the division. You know,
That's
so
the thing.
I don't know
bigger names
exactly
were all
what they're
tied
going to
up.
do with him. You know, say that again.
I said the bigger names were all tied up in that series. You know, so for him not to go in that series was just a bad decision. And then he's calling out the winner of the series. Look, you want him now? You could have had him then. You know, you could have had him in the series. So why call him out? And you could have been such a big star after this whole thing. It was ridiculous not to.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically tailor made for him to go in there, and you know, and honestly, he probably would have been the favorite to win.
Yeah,
or at least
sure.
even money.
Yeah,
you know, there's nobody else out there in the super middleweight division right now that I could really honestly say that, oh, this guy should be favored over Gilberto. I mean, he's young, he's fresh. I think he's got enough chin to withstand anything that those guys would throw at him. Maybe Eubank could do something on the inside with him, but I mean, that's really about it. You know, so to me, it's always been kind of a head scratcher to me what Top Rank has kind of been doing with his career.
Right.
You know, I know he had an injury soon after he won the belt, but it's just been kind of underwhelming, and I just see a lot of I don't know how much longer he's really going to be able to make super middleweight, because how tall is he? He's got to be 6'2", 6'3", right?
He's a big boy.
6'2.5". Yeah, he's almost 6'3". Yeah.
6'2.5". Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's the biggest super middleweight I've ever seen. You know, honestly, I can't think of a super middleweight, at least at the championship level, that I've seen that was quite as big as him. So we'll see what they do. I mean, but they've got to step up the competition. He can't be fighting Africans nobody's ever heard of ever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be somebody else that they can match him up with. You know, the Hart rematch, you know, it might be an exciting fight, but I don't know. I just want more from him.
Well, Brandon, my thought is we've already seen that once. Why do we need to see it again? You know?
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I mean, maybe if Hart wins a big fight somewhere along the road, I mean, if he could take out another top contender or something like that, I say, okay, you know, he's earned a rematch. But with whoever he fought on this undercard, that's not, you know, something that you could say he's earned a rematch to do. It'd almost be like Kovalev versus Pascal too. Just something.
Well,
that really
and like I said with Hart, he came in weighing close to light heavyweight. So, you know, I'm wondering, do you still want to be 168, or are you going to go to 175?
Well, Hart doesn't have the chin to go to 175, so you know his career is at 168. He's got to keep it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got. Oh, the other thing, real quick, if you guys know, did Haney fight on the Showbox card, or did his fight get completely scrapped? Because I heard there was an
it got
issue with
scrapped.
the opponent.
He didn't fight at all.
Yeah, that's tough, because you know what? Honestly, I think that's probably the best American prospect that we have right now.
Yeah. There you go.
You know, I don't really see anybody else that to me that's as
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. He was supposed to be on the card, and then he wasn't there. So, and nobody said anything. So I don't know.
I saw something on Boxing Scene in regards to it's something with the opponent. You know, it wasn't a him thing. It was something with the opponent got scrapped. They probably couldn't find a late replacement that would fit Showbox's bill. Because you know, Showbox, you know, they've basically given us quality fights over the years. Showbox never really has too many squash matches.
Well, this particular card did not live up to Showbox's bill. I mean, the main event was okay, but other than that, not much.
But I'm talking about from a competitive standpoint.
Oh yeah, I got you.
You know what I mean? But other than that, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Maybe next weekend, what do you say? Burchell's fighting on BN Sports.
Yeah,
yep.
and that will be a squash match for sure.
Well,
yeah.
Well, you know, we always harp on people not having enough activity. So, you know, if he's got to stay busy in a smaller fight, you know, it is what it is.
That's right.
As long as they come back with another quality opponent after the fact, maybe he could get a unification bout with that Puerto Rican guy. I can't remember his name, who beat you know, the guy with the blonde hair. That'd be nice to see. I'd love to see him fight Lomachenko. I don't know what else they're going to do with his career other than that, really. I mean, to me, that would be the big fight. But people got to cross the lines to make that fight happen.
Well, and remember, Berchelt is 130 and Lomachenko is moving up to 135, so we'll see what happens there.
But my question is, Robbie, what's Lomachenko moving up to 135 for?
That's a very good question. I have no idea. I guess the first victim is going to be Jorge Linares, but we'll see. But
Linares is a Golden Boy fighter.
Yeah,
I know, but apparently Bob and Oscar are going to put this together. We'll see if they actually do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all I got for you guys, man. I appreciate you guys putting on a show early in the day.
Oh, of course, man.
All right.
Thank you. Enjoy the Super Bowl today.
All right, man. You guys have a good one.
All right.
Say that again, Eric?
Oh, I said enjoy the Super Bowl today. So there you go.
Yeah, right. Who do you got?
Oh, he's gone now. Reese Mack in the chat had a very interesting point. I had this on the agenda last week, and before I go back to the phones here, Deontay Wilder stated that he could beat a prime 1986 Mike Tyson. Deontay Wilder said he would beat a prime Mike Tyson. That guy is completely delusional if he thinks he would have stood a chance against Mike Tyson. And you know how I am. I always say that, listen, man, you get better, athletes get better and everything like that. You could put any version of Deontay Wilder against a prime Mike Tyson. He ain't coming out of that. There's no way. Because he's been in there with murderers. It would
look
shots.
Like Michael Spinks, okay?
Yeah, come on. Beeb, do you think that would have been the case?
I'd have to roll with Tyson on that one.
I got to roll with Tyson too.
Sorry,
Come
Deontay.
on.
Crazy.
Sorry, Deontay, but
yeah.
Whatever you're smoking, quit.
Mike Tyson in prison would have beaten Deontay Wilder. Mike Tyson, the one that fought Peter McNeely, would have beat Deontay Wilder.
Mike Tyson's Super Punch Out on Nintendo would have beat him.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what though? That's not a fair thing, man. That guy was pretty good on Punch Out. He was really good. If you ever faced a Mike Tyson character, he was pretty fast on Punch Out. That was good. I mean, I beat him on Punch Out, but I mean, I'm just saying overall, that's a tough. That's not. I don't think that's a fair comparison, Beeb.
No, it's not.
No.
937, you're live.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Wood.
Hey, Wood.
Woody, what up?
Oh, man. I get to catch you guys this week. I know the last time you did the Super Sunday, you guys did the late shows. I mean, the early show. So, I was trying to finish up this article when you guys started. So I missed all the analysis, and the breakdown of the Super Series semi. So I had to go back and download that and check out what you guys had to say on it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yep.
No, I thought it was a great fight. Like you said, the fees were clean and everything. The environment there is awesome. It just, after the fact, it just kind of struck me that all this English was being used in front of this Russian crowd. It just seemed kind of awkward. But, I guess they pulled it off. Gastelum was pretty impressive in my opinion. I just was kind of struggling with, Dorticos not having it almost looked like he was doing pad work or mitt work with Gassiev's left hands on defense. I mean, all his right hands, like 80-90% of them seem to land on the guy's gloves or on his guard or something. And that just baffled me that he didn't have any type of answer for that. But it was interesting how Gassiev set up a lot of his offense and, and mixed in his shots and everything. And it was an impressive performance.
I thought so too. What do you think of the finals with him and Usyk?
It was like 2 fights ago or before the Super Series started that Usyk had the one kid from, I don't know if he was Canadian or maybe he was a Canadian that was training out west or something, but it was on Showtime, I believe.
So the Mike Hunter fight.
I think that was HBO. Michael Hunter.
Yeah, I think it was him.
Yeah.
Michael Hunter, that was on HBO.
Yeah, HBO. You're right. But that guy, he survived. He went on 12 with Usyk, and Usyk, kind of ran out of, new things to try in that fight. And maybe he's improved and added some wrinkles since then. But I'm not going to say Usyk is as one-dimensional with his power as Torticos was. But I like that Gassiev stays very composed and patient. I wouldn't say it's on the James Toney type level, but I like to say I'm willing to sit back and see how he breaks down the challenge that Usyk presents. And it's a lot different, when a guy Gassiev does have some impressive power. So it'll be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too, for sure. I can't wait for it, man. I can't wait.
Hey, but it seemed like this Showtime ShowBox. I don't know. It seemed like it was kind of doomed from the beginning, and especially as Haney got pulled off of there, was kind of what I was looking forward to. But it just seemed like, I think, was it 4 fights on there?
No, they ended up with 3. It was supposed to be 4.
Well, that's what I'm saying. With it being planned to be 4 and coming on the heels of the January 12th card with with Shields, I don't know. It just seemed like this one was kind of ill-fated from the beginning. I actually didn't even get to check it out because I went down to Cincinnati for the event down there that they had. So the thing that pissed me off was like all of the great and innovative and the consistent quality of the shows that Showtime puts on. I had to find out that they don't re-air the ShowBox cards the next morning. So, I sacrificed the night of watching boxing at home to go cover some local boxing. And, I got penalized because I can't see what the card was. But you guys said it was underwhelming anyway.
Wood, you want a tip? Wood, hold on, Robbie. Wood, you want a tip?
You deleted.
Robert, hang on.
You want a tip, Wood?
Robbie, when it comes to DVRs and stuff like that, I'm as challenged as you are with that iPhone, man. I don't mess with recording stuff.
Okay.
Wood, you want a tip? If you download the Showtime app, they have it on the app. I watched it on the app actually the next day. So if you have the app on your phone or your tablet or whatever,
I don't.
Yeah, you could watch it.
I'm not an app guy either, man. I kind of once they give me my phone at the store, that's kind of how it stays for the duration of the time that I had that phone.
Yeah, that Showtime app is incredible because you can watch it live. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm limited like that. I'm sorry, B. I'm just, limited in those areas.
Yeah.
Hey, but Eric, I just wanted to share, man. It was, it was kind of a new promoter down in Cincinnati last night. He's done some things, and I see him at all of the events for Bronner, Rasheed Warren, and Jamonte Clark and everything. So he's been trying to get involved, but the matchups weren't the greatest going in, but for the guy's first show,
right?
It was awesome that Bronner showed up. I wasn't really expecting him to be there, but he was sitting at the VIP table behind me. Robert Easter Jr. was in the house. Tyler McCreary was in the house. Jamel Herring was in the house. I got to talk to him for a minute about moving over to Top Rank. So, it was a pretty, and it was sold out. So, it was another couple of entities that were putting on the cards over the last year and a half that are now no longer active. So,
how big was
and
the
the attendance always started to wane. But it was sold out, man. So I was
Wow.
glad that that the city came out to support those prospects.
How many did the room hold? Was it where was it at?
The Radisson in Covington across the bridge.
Okay.
It probably it might seat 350 or something. It might have a capacity of 350 to 450 or something. But it was standing room only. I mean, it was a really impressive turnout.
Yeah, for sure. Good deal.
Other than that, if shameless plug, I do have an article recapping all of it that I just put up as you guys went on. That's at roundbyroundboxing.com for anybody that might want to get to know something about some up and coming fighters. I mean, the headliner, Boubacar Silla, he's a guy that he fought on that Wandale Evans undercard from the show in Cleveland, the show box in Cleveland, like in December or something. He didn't, he wasn't televised, but he's a guy that might be a fight or two away from a showbox appearance himself, maybe.
Wow.
And then the co-main event was Desmond Jarman, who's about billions.
I like him.
Mike Stafford was there working with him.
Good. Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah, I got to chat with him afterwards. He needed an opponent. He came off. He's just coming off like 2 or 3 fights getting canceled. He was supposed to fight on the Spence Peterson undercard. That got scratched. And then he was supposed to fight on the Darrell undercard up in Flint, Michigan, and that got scratched. So, it was kind of holding up the guy getting, his rounds in and moving up to, 6 and 8 rounders. So it was good to see him get some action, although it was brief.
Yeah, for sure. Who was in the main? Who was in the main event on that?
So, the main was Boubacar Silla. He's with the same management as like Ryan Martin. It's a guy up in Cleveland, but Ryan Martin is one of their fighters. That Conwell kid.
Yeah, Charles Conwell.
Charles Conwell. Is it Conwell or Conway?
Conwell.
And I forget the other guy, but it went to 6 rounds. It was a 6-round unanimous decision for Silla, but it was a pretty decent fight. It was actually, I won't go into all of that, but it was a pretty good event.
Very good, man. Very good. Yeah, I want to see more of those. And hopefully they put on more competitive stuff. More competitive fights. Maybe people we know, but yeah, I would like to see some of those guys on Showbox, man. I really would. Hopefully they make it up there.
It's kind of challenging for the promoters though, because it was a couple of cards that I was there and they really put in some money on great opponents. It was like 2 or 3 heavyweights that came down from Detroit. Mm-hmm. Some guys that came from Texas and as far out as Kansas and whatnot that were competitive fighters to be matched up against the hometown guys.
Yeah.
And, like I said, the attendance really didn't support it. So it's kind of a crapshoot for those guys to, the promoters to try to put this stuff together and provide quality matchups on paper. So, but I did talk to the promoter about some of the records of the opponents. And, he said based on that success and with it being an incident-free, evening, he said he'd be willing to put some more in it and maybe shrink the card down from 10 fights, to maybe 6 or something and try to have more competitive bouts.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's a great idea, and I hope that's where they go in the future for sure.
Right. Hey, I just wanted to get in, touch them up with you guys real quick. Thanks for having the show every week. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and you guys keep doing what you're doing.
Sounds good, man. Thank you, sir. Tweet me that article, and I'll retweet it for you.
No problem. Take care,
man.
fellas.
You too.
What?
Would. All right, before we get to Jason, let's go over some news and rumors. Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G. The rematch is set.
I don't know what color they'll be today.
They've signed a contract and will rematch on May 5 on HBO pay-per-view. No location has been determined yet, but most likely it will land in Las Vegas. I don't know about you.
I hope not.
I'm not real thrilled about it. I'm not real thrilled about the rematch. It's not really one I really, like I said, I saw the first one. I saw a clear winner. What are we going to see in the second one? I don't know. But this is one of those things where, as the fight gets closer, I'll get more and more excited about it, I'm sure. Robert, you're a big Triple G guy. What do you think of this rematch here?
Well, I'm glad that they're going to have a rematch. I just don't want to see it in Vegas. I hope Madison Square Garden ponies up the dough and we get it in New York. And I'm really curious as to who the 3 judges are going to be, because I am so scared to death of another Adelaide Bird. I mean, I don't know how in the hell she could see that fight 118 to 110. That was a 115, 113 fight either way. You know, I picked, remember guys, I picked Triple G in the last fight, and I was the only one on this panel that scored it for Canelo. So, I mean, come on. I'm fair and I'm firm, just like Joe Cortez. You know, I'm really scared that this is going to wind up in Vegas, and I'm really scared that I'm worried about the judges. I want to see this in New York. I don't want Vegas to touch this thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be in New York too.
Yeah. I tell you, listen, man, if he has a fight and he has it in Vegas, then Triple G, hey, you get what you get. You know, I mean, it is what it is, you know. If you guys agree to that, unless you guys agree to bringing in neutral judges or whatever, judges outside of Vegas, I mean, what do you do? And speaking of Vegas,
I'm really worried about what we're going to get.
Yeah, speaking of Vegas, Beeb, it's time.
Chugga, 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 chugga. Choo, choo!
Oh, my God.
Jesus.
Train just ran out of gas.
God, that was terrible.
I know. She's out with her mother right now.
Don't make excuses on Liz. I don't need excuses. Your excuses are your own. I don't need excuses on why it sucked. We're all aware that it sucked. Everybody in this universe is aware that it sucked.
We got to record her for when she's not around.
I know. He did a soundbite.
I'd rather hear a puppy being drowned than to hear you do that again. That was terrible.
I should have had the cat do it.
Christ.
Jesus. That was just awful. I don't even know if I can go on with the show. That was that bad.
Oh.
May God have mercy on your soul, sir. All right. Train wreck of the week. Adelaide Bird getting back to judging. Bob Bennett states that Bird is still a competent judge, and there's no reason to keep her away from major fight, except that, you know, she sucks, you know. If you're an athlete, Bob Bennett says, if you're an athlete and somebody has a bad day, you don't bench them. Yeah, matter of fact, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Bennett told MMA Fighting, you put him back to work. I'd still say in the last 3.5 years, she's done a great job. I don't want to hear about 2012. As long as I've been here, she's done a good job. She's a great judge. One fight sure as heck doesn't define her career. He said, we'll take it one step at a time, be sure she's comfortable, and continue to move forward. Bob Bennett, you are a moron if you put this idiot back in there.
See, Eric, this fits in with my previous thoughts. Bob Bennett has been one of the worst commissioners the Nevada State Athletic Commission has ever had. This is another reason why I don't want this fight in Vegas. I don't trust him.
Ah, look at Robert getting personal. Doesn't trust Bob Bennett. Beeb, what do you think about Adelaide Bird getting back to judging?
Oh my God. This just really is a slap in the face to the sport of boxing, because we talk about so much how we want to make the sport better and fix the things that are wrong with the sport. But the people in charge of the sport, do they want the same things that we want? Do they actually care about us? Do they care about the fighters? Because the fighters should be thought about first and foremost. So a guy sits there and trains 8 to 10 weeks for a fight, puts it all out there. And I thought he won the fight. At the very least, maybe a draw could have been, but someone turns in a 118, 110 scorecard. That just goes to show that, you know, someone out there, words can't describe why someone could turn in a scorecard that's 118, 110 that watched that fight, in my opinion. I think 118, 110, either way is a disgrace. And I'm not happy about the decision. I just think it makes us look bad, or makes the sport look bad. There's nothing I can say to defend that.
Yeah, C.J. Ross and Adelaide Bird will be scoring that fight next. So there you go.
Oh, good God! No, This reminds me of the Paul Williams-Laura fight. Remember that? All three of those judges got fired.
Insane. Insane. All right. Your boy, Floyd Mayweather. Could he be making the move to MMA? Floyd Mayweather is heading to Minnesota. Incidentally, that's where the Super Bowl is. How about that? Where he's set to meet up with Showtime Steven Espinoza. And the two will definitely be talking about a possible MMA fight. Espinoza told TMZ it will be a topic of conversation, acknowledging Floyd's very recent videos inside an MMA cage. If you guys haven't seen this, Floyd Mayweather put together a couple of videos that show him walking into an MMA cage, into the octagon with gloves on and everything like that, and outfit. You know, he's outfitted for a MMA fight. And then he says, you know, I'm going to MMA, and he says, what are the odds? Espinoza says there's a chance, whatever he puts his mind to, he sort of wills into happening. He said Floyd willed the McGregor fight into happening, so if he sets his mind to it, it'll happen. And he also said that he's, you know, speaking of Floyd, he's not an 8-figure guy anymore. He's a 9-figure guy, says Espinoza, the president of Showtime Sports. This is a, you wonder if he's trolling. You know, is he trolling? Because what they're saying, the video of him coming to the octagon, one, it just shows him walking around, but the second one, he mentions he references, you know, odds. He said, what are the odds of it? Then they show the side of his shorts, and it's an advertisement. It's a clear commercial advertisement. But Beeb, you have an interesting take on this, and you say he could make upwards of $150 million just a guaranteed. I mean, what were your thoughts on this, Beeb?
This could be the biggest purse for him by far ever, you know, because think about it. You know, he went in there against a guy boxing that no one really thought could beat him, and there was still interest in that. Now, for the really the first time in I don't know how many years, he's going to be put in a situation where he could actually lose. So all the haters that dislike this guy would like nothing more than to see this guy lose, and they would pay a lot of money to see that happen. Yeah. So pay-per-view wise, if this was in a cage, honestly, it could do 5 million pay-per-view buys without even blinking an eye. Without even blinking an eye.
Everybody wants to see the guy lose. And
for him to actually do it, I think he would get paid handsomely for it. 150 guarantee. He could make, when it's all said and done, 400 million for this fight. Maybe even $500 million. As ridiculous as that may sound. So could it happen? I'm skeptical against it happening, but does it make sense financially for him to do it? Absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Why? And he's still undefeated. He can still be undefeated. You know, you go in there and you get murked in the first round, you know, by a head kick, you know. I mean, look, you're still undefeated. Doesn't matter. It's a win-win. Plus, you got all that money to take home. They're going to cover your expenses for hospitals, you know, because he's going to get murked. You know, once that head kick comes flying into his leg and then, you know, head kick hits him in the face, it's all done, son.
Hey, if you're in a coma, you're great, you know?
Yeah, as long as you're not comatose, you're all right, man. Don't worry about it. You got a billion reasons to smile. All right. The fight that absolutely nobody wants to see has been signed. Amir Khan will fight Phil LoGreco in what we call the Eddie Hearn special around here. Beeb, go holler at your boy. A press conference has been held this week announcing Amir Khan, Phil LoGreco. During the press conference, though, Khan threw water at LoGreco when, of course, Phil LoGreco brought up Amir Khan's wife and Anthony Joshua. Amir Khan didn't take too kindly to that, threw some water on him. The two had to be separated. So, yeah, there you go. And as we mentioned earlier in the show, Vasyl Lomachenko and Jorge Linares, it looks like that fight may happen. Top Rank is said to be negotiating that fight. Mikey Garcia may have missed his opportunity by fighting Sergey Lipinets. He may have just passed over Jorge Linares because you're sure not going to go back down and fight him now. Robert, what are your thoughts on that fight?
Well, you know, it's interesting because I think Lomachenko is going to take Linares' title. And I'm wondering how interested Mikey would be in going back down to 135 to give his belt to Lomachenko, because I think that's what could happen. I think Mikey could get this belt from Lipinets, and then let's see how much pressure is put on him to actually lose the weight and fight Lomachenko, because there's no way in hell Linares is going to beat Lomachenko.
No way.
He's a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah. And Reese Mack says, can Mikey fight the winner? I guess it's possible, but, you know, I'll tell you what, Mikey, that's going to be a tough fight to make, man, because it wasn't a very amicable split from Top Rank, put it that way.
No,
and now he wants to.
It took him 2.5 years.
Well, you know what's funny is that he breaks away from Top Rank, and now he wants to come back and fight one of Top Rank's guys. It's like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. It wasn't like it was your contract ended, you went elsewhere, and you still kept bridges open. You burned a lot of bridges when you did that, so what do? All right.
Enjoy your Al Heyman payday. That's what you do.
Oh, man. All right. Area code 706. 706, you're live. I got to change. And you know what? Incidentally, I got to change his theme music to that PBC intro. I kept meaning to do it this week. I didn't get time. But, yeah, we're going to change his intro.
It's available on YouTube. You little crybaby. It's available on YouTube for free. Put it on there.
I'm going to have to. Yeah, I'm going to have to put that on there as your intro. Like, give it maybe, you know what I'll do?
Go any further. You said Mikey just left Top Rank and now he wants to fight one of their guys. Don't you want promoters working with each other, or which one is it? I thought he used to bash Heyman for not working across the aisle. And then if Mikey left, but he still wants to fight Lomachenko, you don't want him to fight? Which one do you want to do?
No, I want the fight to happen, but I don't think it will.
Right. That's where we're coming.
Also, didn't WBC mandate Linares to fight Mikey next? So if he doesn't fight Mikey next, then how is he going to defend the WBC? Won't he be stripped?
Yes, because that's how it always works.
That won't happen.
Have you not paid attention to the sport for the past 50 years? No.
Well, WBC they sometimes strip people. They strip Canelo, so you never know if they strip Canelo. They could strip Linares. Linares is not some big money maker for the WBC.
Let me break this down. Let me break this down for you. Adonis Stevenson still has his title. Enough said.
Adonis Stevenson is a chosen one. He's the anointed one. Don't forget about him. He's special. I'm talking about Linares. At least he's fighting Jack, man. That's gonna be a good fight.
That's gonna be a good fight, man. Yeah, I don't know who to pick. I mean, I love Badu Jack, friend of the show.
I'm picking Jack.
Jack has more ways
let me interrogate Beeb for a second. Hey, Beeb.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
What happened to your treadmill video from last week, which you made? You were saying, I'm going to call out Al Heyman if he doesn't do it this year. Great fights. And it seems like since the Showtime schedule put out, you deleted that video. Is that what happened?
That video's there.
I just went on your channel. I can't see it. But
yeah,
I was wondering, are you going to do another treadmill video calling out Top Rank and Sky Sports for the trash they put on last night? Or no, that's only Al Heyman special treatment.
We just did.
I guess the premise of that other video, which
you didn't do it. You gave like a one little pussy ass comment. I'm talking about a real full video.
I guess the premise of the Al Heyman video was basically to say one thing. When PBC was first announced, the theme was, or the goal was, for them to be on free TV, and now they're back on Showtime. Yeah. That's basically what the video was about. So they're back where they started. Is that a bad thing? Not for me. I have Showtime. All the point was they set out with the goal and they didn't follow through on it. That's just facts. It has nothing to do with anything.
When they tried to do something different, every week we stood around and picked them apart for everything they did.
Not me. Ask Robert.
Matchups weren't good enough.
Ask Robert.
Everything we ripped apart. Now Top Rank and
Robert when I was on the other show.
Golden Boy.
Ask Robert when I was on the other show what I used to say about PBC. This is what I said about PBC when I was on the other show, because I was a big supporter of PBC, and I still am a big supporter of PBC. But this is what I said. Everyone would come in, and even before, right when it was announced, people were trashing the idea because Al Heyman's name was attached to it. And what did I say? I said, let's give it about 2 years, and let's see what happens. Okay, the 2 years is up. And I not happy with what I've seen so far in terms of consistency.
Can I jump in?
I expected more. That's just my whole opinion on it. Do I still watch PBC?
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, Beeb, in those 2 years, the amount of good fights PBC put on, ESPN 2 or ESPN regular or Top Rank have not even put half those amount of good fights on their shit.
ESPN's really shit the bed right now.
What you say, because ESPN is putting on trash every fucking other week. Only good fight they had was Mariaga versus Valdez, which was competitive. That's it. Which other good fights have they put on?
And if they keep putting on what they put on last night, then guess what?
Right.
ESPN's going to dump them too.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got to be good fights.
They already did that. They've been putting on this trash. They put on that Better Beeb versus that guy, which was fucking trash. They're about to put on Alvarado versus Manny and Crawford versus Horn, and I don't even know why people are excited about that. That's another trash card to me. And last night it was Sky Sports' turn with like British beef, which felt like freaking British vegetarian food. There was no freaking beef there at all. And I didn't hear you criticize them at all. And then we got another match special coming up with Danny Jacobs and Spike O'Sullivan after we just got Danny Jacobs versus what's his name? Luis Arias. So I don't understand why Heyman is getting all these rants and hate when everybody else is putting on way shittier products than him. Yeah, if without Heyman and PBC schedule, boxing would be shit.
Yeah, but you're not listening to the podcast because we said the same thing earlier. We still say these are lousy fights. We say, when it's a lousy card, we say it's a lousy card. You made like one or two little minor comments. I'm talking about like a whole rant, like a whole video, like Heyman gets. I want you to give them the special attention like you give Heyman. That's what I want to see. About how lousy the ESPN card was. Would you like me to do an entire show on how lousy the Showbox card was?
Jason,
you know what I mean?
We don't have to do all those things because we have you to do that for us.
No, I don't do it. I just make a comment and move on.
Why do we have to do all? Why do we have to bash?
You're the main man.
We don't have to bash any of those people, but we do bash those people. But for us to take the lead like you have, we don't want to take your job away from you. That's your job. You're the token.
Come on,
you're the top rank smasher. You're the golden boy smasher. We want to.
He didn't even pay Fortuna, man. Fortuna got like $60K. I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah, Reese Mack in the chat.
He probably got $50K.
Hold up, Reese Mack in the chat.
And
Beeb, hang on.
Beeb, now,
hang on.
Now you realize I was telling the truth about.
He's muted. You've muted, and we're going to come back to you in a second, Jason. Reese Mack in the chat just asked a question: was Adonis Stevenson really a pimp? Yes, Adonis. Let me confirm that for you. Adonis Stevenson really was a pimp. So it's you got in some trouble for that. Yes, go ahead, Jason.
What was I saying, man? You made me forget. Fuck. Is Jacobs versus Spike O'Sullivan final? Beeb, any inside news on that? Since it's in your neck of the woods. I mean,
I heard it was final.
There you go.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
You
know what I think about it?
It looks like it's going to be set.
You know what I think about it?
It looks like it's going to be set for April 21st.
Yeah, I think.
What do you think about that craft fight, Beeb?
I think Jacobs is staying busy.
It's not a good fight. It's not a really
fight. Not a good fight.
Not a great fight.
Fighting Sergio Mora and fucking Kid Chocolate and GGG wasn't busy enough, so now we got to give Cuba Arias and Spike O'Sullivan, huh?
Come on, man. That's the same caliber of fight. Same caliber.
If PBC put on these two fights back to back, you and Beeb would be all over him in like a fucking cheap suit. We all know this.
If Danny Jacobs does not get someone like Billy Joe Saunders or Charlo next, I'm going to be very disappointed. And that's just the facts.
Yeah.
What do you mean he doesn't get? Billy Joe Saunders already said he has no interest in fighting him. Why would he get him? He already said on camera he has no interest in fighting Jacob. So why would you even assume that he might get him? Come on,
says a lot of stuff.
Ignore that guy.
Billy Joe Saunders said he wasn't going to fight Golovkin. Now he wants to fight him.
Right.
So who knows?
He said he don't want to fight Jacobs, though. He said that many times. He said he has no interest in fighting Jacobs.
Yeah, you know what? I favor Billy Joe Saunders over both of those guys. I think he beats Golovkin or he beats
both of which guys?
Jacobs or Golovkin.
I don't favor him over Jacobs.
Yeah, I favor him over Jacobs or Golovkin.
He said he doesn't even want to fight Jacobs because he knows he's got his ass whooped. Eric, come on, calm down with that. Also, Beeb, did you see Eddie Hearn's boss, his daddy, Barry Hearn's interview on Seconds Out channel just 2 days ago?
No, I gotta watch that. I did not see that.
You know what he said? You know what he said, Beeb?
What did he say?
He said Wilder versus AJ is not next. He said it needs to marinate like Oscar did. So I would advise you to pull that channel up and watch it right now. The title of the video is Wilder is making a mistake or something like that. Please, around like between 2 and 4 minutes around that mark. So please watch that. I've been telling you guys this for months. That shit is not happening next. And Eddie's boss just confirmed that. So
yeah,
please talk about that.
That's not happening next. It's not like that's news. Did you actually think they were going to fight?
I'm going to be very disappointed then.
No, but everybody in America is bashing Thurman for not fighting Spence next, and he's coming off an injury and a layoff. But AJ is being put on this pedestal for not fighting AJ Wilder next. So why are you guys all over him then?
Because Thurman's going to get KO'd. That's why. Spence is going to kill that guy.
What? Thurman's going to get. So you don't want to Joshua to fight AJ next? I mean, Wilder to fight AJ next? You're okay with him fighting Povetkin or somebody else after Parker?
I'm not. I could care less who he fights. I'm just saying that Thurman is going to get.
Who can Joshua fight next though? Who else is out there? Who are they going to put Joshua in there with next?
Povetkin.
He could fight. He's going to fight the winner. Yeah,
he's going to fight
Dylan White again. He was hanging out with Dylan White and told him, "I'm going to fight you again."
I heard a ridiculous rumor, Beeb, that he's going to fight Fury after he beats Parker.
No, Fury is going to fight. No, Fury. That's not happening. I'm hearing Fury is going to fight Shannon Briggs.
Fury doesn't even have a license yet.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he was granted one by the British board. Yeah, he was.
He's fighting April 21st, Jason.
He doesn't even have a license yet, so that date is fake.
Dude, you don't know what you're talking about.
Got it back, Jason.
You don't pay attention to the news, do you?
Did you hear? Did he get a boxing license yet, Robbie?
No, you got it back.
Where the hell have you been?
Okay, my bad. I'm staying corrected on that, I guess.
I'm thinking Povetkin. Yeah, I'm thinking because Povetkin's going to fight on that undercard with him and Parker and Joshua. Povetkin just signed a fight on that undercard, I believe, and whoever wins that fight, whoever wins him and Price, that's who's going to be next at Joshua. If Povetkin wins, he's going to be next.
What did you guys think of the chamber of the guy Okoli last night? I thought he was horrible, just like Dylan White. His technique is fucking horrible. What did you guys think of?
You didn't like Okoli? I like Okoli, man. I think he's a good prospect. I think he's a good prospect. I like Okoli a lot.
I think he's your level. As soon as he steps up like O'Hara Davies did, he'll get smacked back down like O'Hara did. Exactly like him.
No, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know about that, but we'll see what happens. I know he's got some power though. I know he can hit, and he looks good.
Or Beeb, Pulev and Povetkin are his next choices, and Dylan White. Wilder is nowhere near. He's not even on the top 3. I guarantee you.
But you know
please watch the interview, okay?
Yeah, but you know what though
is watch that interview.
These are all big name guys too. He's fighting. You know, Ortiz is going to be the best fighter.
Yeah, to avoid Wilder and get away with criticism. So because he's fighting a big name, so we'll give him a pass. That's exactly the blueprint.
Ortiz
let Wilder get a little older, wait till 2020 and fight him then.
Ortiz is the biggest name. Well, that's what they're going to do. Ortiz right now is the biggest name on his resume. Will be the biggest name. Joshua's got a resume.
And Eddie's dad was like, Ortiz is really dangerous. So we're glad Wilder is fighting him or something like that. They didn't want AJ to fight Ortiz either.
Who do you like?
That just tells you their mentality.
Who do you like in that fight? Do you like Ortiz or Wilder?
I like Wilder.
I like Wilder, but he's going to get hit and he's going to get hurt in that fight. I think he could.
I think his
speed is very sneaky. Man. He's very sharp. Ortiz is.
Yeah, it's not a gimme fight. A lot of people thinking Wilder's going to run right over him, man. That ain't a gimme fight, man. That's a good fight.
Ortiz kind of reminds me of a bigger version of Garcia for some reason. Do you see that comparison?
Yeah. I mean, Ortiz is good. Ortiz can fight. I don't know, like, his power, if his power is there or if he's going to be able to shake Wilder, but I keep going back to that Gerald Washington fight with Wilder. I keep going back to Arthur Spiltzka with Wilder. And I know Ortiz can box. I don't know, man. I lean toward Wilder.
That Washington guy was tall, though. He was pretty tall and long. I think that's what gave Wilder trouble.
But he didn't have that much experience, though. You know what I mean? I mean, for somebody like Wilder, Wilder really should have rolled over him. But I don't know, man. It's an interesting fight. It's a real interesting fight.
All right, before I go, let me make this point. I told you guys when you guys didn't believe me, Dan Rafael was a lying scumbag. And now I'm telling you, the AJ versus Wilder fight is not next. So don't doubt me, guys. I'm telling you. I told you guys about that 3 million number being fake, and I was proven right. And also, this I'm going to be proven right. So you guys remember that shit, okay? Thanks, guys.
All right, man.
Thank you, Al, for calling in like you normally do.
Robert always gets the jab going away, boy.
Al Heyman approves that message.
Yes, he does.
Beeb, to make it fair now, you got to go and make a video bashing Eddie Hearn and then bashing Top Rank. So
no. Beeb's got his own channel. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Don't bash Tom Loeffler though. He's a friend of the show. So there you go.
That's right.
But I think that Wilder Ortiz fight, man, I think that's more interesting than people think. I think they saw that last Stavern fight and everybody got their eyes open. Let me tell you what, Stavern was completely out of shape for that fight. He didn't want to be in there. You could tell by his body language he didn't want to be in there. I'm gonna tell you right now, man.
Eric, I just remember the Ortiz Malik Scott fight, and it's the worst 36 minutes of boxing I've ever seen.
Maybe, but look, I mean, listen, man. I mean, you have to think about it. You have to think about it logically. Look, I mean, what's Wilder's best night of boxing? You know what I mean? He's never really outboxed anybody, with the exception of Stavern in that first fight. I thought he did a great job. Short of that, though,
yeah,
I thought he was losing against Spiltzka. I thought he was losing against Gerald Washington. Yep. Any distance fight, I don't think he's that great of a boxer. And if he doesn't put his hands on you, Eric, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. Robbie, this is your neck of the woods, I believe. Area code 805. 805, you're live.
Yes, Mr. Nacho. Hello, Nacho.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Hey,
good thing you guys put me on after that fucking PBC homer of Jason. What the hell is that guy talking about?
Yeah.
Fucking Tyson Fury already got his license back. What the hell is this guy talking about? He doesn't have a license.
Well,
that's the kind of...
It just goes to show you, Nacho, Al doesn't pay attention to the sport that he makes money off of.
Exactly. He's over here fucking spreading fake news and shit, trying to tell people Tyson Fury doesn't have a license. The guy just got his license back a couple of weeks ago. What the hell? Like, and then he has a problem. He has a problem with Anthony Joshua possibly fighting Povetkin, but he didn't have a problem with Wilder fighting Povetkin. What kind of fucking double standard is that?
Right.
Well,
that's ridiculous.
Nacho, in fairness to Deontay Wilder, Povetkin failed 2 different drug tests, and in also fairness to Wilder, Wilder was going to go to Russia to actually fight him, so we can't really say that.
I know, but what I'm saying, Robbie, is that why is it okay for Wilder to take him on as an opponent, but he wants to fucking criticize Joshua for fighting the same guy? Come on now.
Well,
I just think that's a double standard. Don't nitpick about PBC fighters being picked on, but then when you go ahead and bash other guys for trying to fight, better competition than the guys Wilder has been fighting lately, it's like, I don't understand this shit. It's infuriating to say the least.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But look, I think I think Joshua Povetkin would be an interesting fight. I mean, it's better than what I was hearing about him possibly fighting Fury when Tyson Fury needs to have like 4 or 5 fights to see what kind of shape he's actually in and whether he's got anything left after all he's been through. And why Joshua wants to put Wilder off, that's his and Eddie Hearn's business. But like I've said previously, as long as people are willing to go to the UK to fight Joshua, he can fight anybody he wants. And Wilder needs to wake up and realize that he's got no negotiating stance here. He needs to punch his passport. If he was willing to go to Russia, then he's got to go to England. There you go.
I know. The thing I don't get about Wilder is he went over there about 4 years ago to fight Audley Harrison, and he had no issue doing that. But now all of a sudden, when it comes to Joshua, he needs to come to America, and it needs to be a 50-50 fight. Get the fuck out of here. Coming from Wilder, whose team literally is known to paper the Barclays Center, so that way they can claim they sold all these seats when in reality they give away a bunch of freebies and discounts just so they can make it look like there's a bunch of people there. Come on now.
Well,
you can't compare.
Again, Nacho, he doesn't have any negotiating stance because look at Joshua. Every time he fights somebody, tickets sell out within hours, if not minutes. I mean, you don't see any papered crowds in the UK.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Wilder And people like Jason want to crow about how he sold out the Barclays Center. No, he didn't. They gave away a bunch of tickets and sold discounted tickets just to get people in the building. He couldn't even sell out his own hometown in Birmingham, Alabama. So what is this guy talking about, that he's a draw and he sells tickets? He doesn't sell shit. He just has a belt at this point, and that's all he is. He's just a title holder. He's not like the man in the division. No. So I just find it hilarious. I wanted to talk about the fights yesterday. Man, go ahead. Gassiev, I have to give that guy a lot of credit. I honestly thought Dorticos was going to beat him, and I was pretty close right till the very end. If Dorticos doesn't get knocked out, I think he ends up winning a decision. But, man, Gassiev just had a little more left in the tank, and he was able to take him out in the 12th round, especially with that last left hook he landed that knocked him out of the ring. I was like, oh, man, like, that was crazy. So that should be a really interesting fight between him and Usyk. I hope Usyk doesn't think that he's just going to be able to box for 12 rounds, because if Gassiev can have power until all the way up until the 12th, he's going to be in trouble, you know? Usyk's not going to be able to dance for 12 rounds with that guy trying to hit him and hurt him the entire time. The top rank card, they both did what I expected them to do. They were both fighting guys that weren't exactly, you know, in the top 10 or top even 40 for that matter. And Gilberto Ramirez and Cajas. And Cajas looked good, and he took the kid out. But, man, these guys on ESPN, especially Mark Kriegel, they need to stop with this whole, like, Manny Pacquiao bullshit. Like, the kid is good, but let's lay off the Pacquiao comparisons. The kid's only won a title in one division, and they're over here acting like he's the next Manny Pacquiao, talking about every punch he throws is just like Manny Pacquiao. It's like, dude, let the kid breathe. Let the kid develop into a legitimate, you know, star. Like let's lay off the Pacquiao comparisons. Kriegel was killing me with every punch he threw. It seemed like he wanted to say, oh, well, Manny loves to throw this straight left, or, oh, Manny loves to throw a left hook. It's like, man, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't need to know every punch that this kid throws is exactly like Manny Pacquiao. And that's what's annoying about Mark Kriegel being on the ESPN broadcast now. To me, he's even more inept than Teddy Atlas was. And they fired Teddy Atlas. So what the hell are they going to do with Kriegel? Like, that guy's just terrible. And then with Ramirez, I told everybody, I said, this dude that he was fighting, Ahmed, just had a shiny record, because I looked at his box rec and he fought a bunch of nobodies. Like, he beat 17 guys with losing records. I'm like, how the fuck does this guy get a title fight? It's unbelievable. And sure enough, as soon as the first 3 rounds went by, Ramirez just took him apart and then just started teeing off on him in the fifth round, and then in the 6th round, he put him away, which he should have. I thought he could have put him away at least a couple rounds earlier. It just seemed like he took his time putting him away. I definitely like the fact that Ramirez wants to fight the winner of the World Boxing Super Series, whoever that is. I think that would be a good fight for him, because he can't be doing these like semi-tune-up optional defenses. Like, he's got to fight some better competition than the guy he just fought last night, because that's not going to do him any good in the long run.
And they're also talking about a Jesse Hart rematch. We already seen that. We don't need to see that again.
Yeah, you might want to hold off on that for a while. I don't need to see it right away. Like, if you want to, you know, let both guys win a few more fights, and then if Ramirez has, you know, another belt, then I think you make that fight again if Hart looks impressive. Because the guy he beat last night was even worse than the guy Ramirez beat.
That's
so
right.
I don't understand. I don't understand how Hart thinks by beating a guy worse than the guy that Ramirez fought makes him like automatically a legit contender again. That's just that's ridiculous.
Unfortunately, Nacho, if you look at the WBO rankings, he's still listed as the mandatory challenger.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, there was nobody else that can leapfrog ahead of Jesse Hart, considering he just lost his last fight previous to last night. Like, I don't know. Sometimes you wonder how much these sanctioning bodies actually pay attention to their own rankings with shit like that. and then the card with the British card with Chamberlain and Okoli. I mean, it was okay, but I mean, they hyped that main event too much, and to be honest, I don't think it lived up to the hype whatsoever. I just thought it was an okay fight. I thought both guys are just, decent prospects who still both need work. They're not ready to step up anytime soon against anybody big. I was wondering if you guys paid attention to the Carson Jones fight on that card, where he came in 4.5 pounds over weight.
That's what I heard, yeah.
And they still allowed the fight to go on. Yeah. They still allowed the fight to go on. I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow, that's disgraceful that you would allow that fight to go on. But luckily for them, that Cheeseman kid actually outboxed him and basically, schooled him, made him look bad. So they got away with it.
When Diego De La Hoya did that, they didn't allow that fight to go on. I didn't realize that about that fight. Wow.
Well, I mean, he
was 4.5 pounds overweight, Robbie.
Yeah, you don't fight, you don't get paid, though. It's not like he gets any show money for coming.
And they let the fight go on. Yeah, exactly. And then with the fights that are going on, there's actually not really. Did you guys hear about how Burchell changed his opponent for the third time now, going into this weekend's fight?
I heard something about they had replaced him. Yeah.
Yeah, he changed his opponent for the third time. The guy that he was scheduled to fight wasn't approved by, apparently he's from the Philippines, and the Filipino commission said because he had fought last month, they weren't going to allow him to fight again in less than 30 days after he had fought. So he couldn't fight him. So they ended up having to find another opponent, and they went the top rank route, and they found some guy with a crazy record from Ghana to fight Burchell this weekend. And I'm like, wow, okay. So that goes to show you what kind of
hey, Bob must have a lot of African connections. That's all I can say.
Yeah, exactly.
When
they keep digging up these guys from Africa, then I'm like, who the hell are these people?
When your fighter can't get approved by the Filipino commission, you got problems, So
yeah, for real. Yeah, that says it all right there. So I mean, I was disappointed because at least with him fighting Christian Mijares, it would have been at least an older, well-known scalp on his record, but apparently they both were with rival TV networks in Mexico, and Burchell's promoter got upset that Mijares' promoter kept insisting that they show the fight on the network he's on, and he said, just forget it. Then he's like, I'm not going to waste my time. He's all, it's either we do it how we want to do it, or we're not doing it at all. And they just pulled the plug on that fight. So that was interesting. And Mijares actually came out and said that his promoter told him that he might get him Wilfredo Vasquez Jr. as his next fight. And I was like, guys, where the hell are these guys at? Some of these dudes haven't fought in years, and they're just fucking digging up names out of nowhere. So, So
it's the beautiful sport of boxing. You gotta love it. You never know what they're gonna do next.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys. Well, that's all I got. I'll just. Are you guys gonna be back on the normal time next week?
Normal time next week. Yeah.
Seconds.
Normal time next week.
All right. All right then. I'll tell you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. All right. See you.
Good call, Nacho. Dropping knowledge, man.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels that way about Kriegel, because I think they should bring Teddy Atlas back.
No, that was disgusting, Eric. It really was. Manny Pacquiao this, Manny Pacquiao that. Give the guy
60 seconds.
Fighter. Don't compare him to somebody who's, obviously accomplished a lot more. I mean, come on.
Right. Why don't we just let him be the first, let him be himself? Why does he have to copy Pacquiao? Why does he have to, and there's no real similarities between him and Pacquiao other than they're both Filipino.
I mean, Mark Kriegel went to the Max Kellerman school last night. Let's be honest.
You don't see Teddy Atlas doing stuff like that.
They both have similar
Teddy gets in trouble for his own stuff.
They have similar hairstyles.
They have similar hairstyles that we said. It's kind of like North Korea. You can only have certain hairstyles over there. It's different, you know. Oh my God, Robert, what are you doing for the Super Bowl tonight? Robert, what are you doing for the Super Bowl tonight?
We bought a bunch of deli stuff, and we're gonna make a homemade dip for chips and dip and nachos and all kinds of good stuff. And I got beer on ice. I'm good to go.
Look at that. What about you, Beeb?
Gonna watch it here at home, curled up in my UK blanket, Union Jack bedspread, and I'm just gonna enjoy the night. Maybe make some pasta later. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. I think we're going to do nachos, and my dad's coming over. We're going to watch the game, watch the Eagles win, and watch Beeb Industries crumble as New England goes by the wayside.
Cincinnati will be disappointed all over again.
Let me tell you what. Cincinnati got a job. They should have been in the Super Bowl this year. I think it was a travesty that they weren't invited to the playoffs, but hey, it is what it is. You know. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. Yeah, you're right. In the chat, Reese Mack, you're right. It is Chop Coily. I made a mistake. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert or call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1. Find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. On Twitter, I'm at Ringside73, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.